Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. You? How was your week?
I don't really remember, so I'm going to throw this week's story to you.
Okay, well, there is one thing that I did this week that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And it took a lot of maneuvering of schedule, including Johnny having a day off of work. But I finally did get my eyelashes done.
Oh, I love it because I've been thinking about that for so long. So, how does it feel? Do you love them? It's been a couple of days now. How
Oh
you
my
feel?
gosh. I love it. But do you know like when there's things in life that are really exciting and you're excited to get there, kind of like oh, I'm excited for like Christmas Day, but then it's like disappointing or just anything like that where it's exciting. And then like I don't know if maybe you don't live life like that, that exciting things are followed immediately by massive disappointment. But the thing is, I was so happy when I saw my lashes, but then it's like honestly, I don't have the ability or like seriously, like just the ability to get these refilled every 2 weeks because that
Two
would be ideal
weeks?
to keep up the look. Ideal is every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I'm just like I'm smiling and I'm nodding, and I really like this girl. And chances are I might go back another time and just like get them redone all over again, just whenever you need that boost or just want to do something special for yourself. But I'm
Yeah.
just there smiling. She's like, "Yes, I'll probably see you in 2 weeks. You can go book that." I'm like, sure. My life would never allow for something like that, like to make the time for this every 2 weeks. So I'm super happy about my lashes. They make me feel awesome, but I'm also super sad every time I look at them because I'm like, I don't want you to get destroyed. I want you to be permanent. So
Oh,
yeah,
uh,
that's
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 hilarious.
life. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough this week.
Sounds like a big old challenge. All right. Well, you know what? That was super exciting, but maybe let's just jump into this.
Yes, speaking of challenges, I am sorry. I had just a teeny tiny itty bitty bit of hope. But the PCPD maybe is just this long standing gag that they will absolutely 100% never solve a damn thing.
I think it is gonna be
Honestly,
a joke because you pointed it out to me. Like I never really thought about it because like there's so much the center of so many storylines because between the mob and this and that happening, Franco, all this stuff. But
but
yeah,
who in the mob do they arrest and stay in jail? Like, tell me, all the mobsters are pretty much walking about.
yeah, just doing their thing. And then anytime they do get close to solving something, it's from some outside source.
Always. And this time was just making me so angry because on one hand they would talk and be like, oh, I don't think it could be Griffin or it doesn't make sense. Or how many times this week did Curtis sort of butt in and say, it's really not him. And the fact that Jordan more than once said, like, yeah, it's not really looking like Griffin. But
Yeah.
then what are you doing about it? Because she's telling Jordan her sob story. Well, the evidence is really just pointing at him. So do some investigative or detective work if you're like apparently you don't follow your gut. So when okay, this person didn't do it, basically they don't do anything. They just wait for evidence to come in. Like they don't actually go search for any. It doesn't feel that way.
No, exactly. And then there's the whole scene with like Chase in the elevator, which is like, is that the place you're supposed to speak to an expert is in an elevator? But
Well,
whatever.
but it's just the fact that they talked about this before, that it is somebody who has to know how to slice the head real well, and it came back in the medical report, it has to be a doctor. But does it have to be Griffin? Like
Exactly.
I just don't understand. But it's not even just that. Forget that part. But how long did it take them to piece together that these two gruesome murders that showed up in a public place could possibly be connected? And that the last time the killer pointed you into a direction he wanted you to think and wanted you to believe and constructed this whole story around Carly. And now look again, you're hand delivered a murder and you're also being hand delivered a suspect at the same time. And no connection is made. And when every time I feel like Chase points out a connection, I think it's going to stick, but it never does. It never does. It's so
I
frustrating.
It is incredibly frustrating because this is pretty huge. Like exactly like what you said. There's so many similarities, and it's just like they're like, oh, the fact that roommate like Michael pointed out, yeah, all he did
Yeah.
was see the name together on Chase's desk, like, are these two murders related? It took him like 5.5 seconds. He saw
No,
two
he
names.
just exactly, not even just did he ask the question, he specified in detail what he thought were the commonalities between these two cases. And I was dying of laughter when I saw that. I thought it was so funny that basically anybody can put this together, which is like, it's crazy. But what did you think about the fact that out of nowhere, Sam's just like, I got the solution?
I know. I really wasn't expecting that. Like that just came out of it's like, did they just want to wrap that up quickly with a pretty bow? Like, why is she so invested in Griffin getting released? Like that part's kind of weird to me. And maybe I'm missing something. Like, is there a history that like I because
No, I
you
mean Katie's her cousin, but no, I just think I really think that Sam's reaction is the same as basically the rest of the town. It's the same as Alexis. It echoes what Sunny thinks as well. When they
know,
look at each other, they have Griffin, you know, and how he keeps kind of saying, "Oh, they always look at the boyfriend or the husband," but he knows it's not true in this case. And I think anybody who's known Griffin, even people who don't know him well, still think that this is stupid. And part of me feels like that's all it points out, you know, whether or not she was close to them. She's just like, no. Like I think it's her gut instinct, the same as Curtis. They're private investigators. They work for themselves. And I just think bottom line, she thinks it's stupid. But at the same time, too, I think this is my hope. My hope is the fact that Sam jumped in and was
mhm.
able to help Griffin means that we might be starting the path to finding Ryan or
I hope
figuring
so.
out something.
I hope so because that call that he made that he had with Jordan was so beyond creepy.
I
Like
thought
they
she knew it was creepy the
confirmed.
first time, so I don't know if she thinks this is creepy this time.
I don't think she I mean she the way she was saying it to him, she just seems so oblivious these days. Like when she's talking to Curtis, she's like, "Well, all the evidence points to," and then when he's talking about like he wants to help, he wants to help, he wants to help, but I don't know. I'm not convinced.
I think it's strange, but again, it's not going to be them that's going to piece that together because, but the reason why I think that we're on our way, you have Sam, but then you also have how he treated Laura this week.
Oh my gosh, that was intense.
But I'm happy
Between
she's, at least she's somewhat convinced now that there's
but how
something
long did
wrong.
it take? Like we've been talking, you have brought this up for like weeks, saying like, how come nobody is saying like, how come he's not having a nervous breakdown? She's kind of like, oh, that's not my, my
That's not my
person.
husband. And I'm like, no, you're right
But
on the money
you're right.
with that comment.
But it's still taken so lightly, his out of character actions. Like he's with Ava. He served you divorce papers. He acts so cold. He doesn't want to be near you. What is going on? And she still holds on to hope and she still is weirded out that he handed her divorce papers. Like, hello, he has like zero emotions.
Yeah, I do find it weird. And I mean, like at the end of the day, you can just say she's just mourning. Like unlike him, she actually has emotions to deal with, and then grief of loss and losing this, and just being really confused. So she might have to get past all of that to then maybe finally notice because she was in denial for a lot of it. Because I think at the beginning, all of his weird behavior was happening in private, and it wasn't until Carly told her that he snapped at her did she finally appear to seem like she felt less crazy when she's like, oh my gosh, he did. So I think for a long time, she might have felt like she was the only one that he was different toward and that he was still Kevin to
Okay.
everybody else. So maybe that's what is sort of delaying all of this. And did you notice like Margot got in on this investigation? How annoying was that?
I know. I thought like we'd get a little bit of a break. But I mean, I find her way less annoying because it's like not directed to Sunny and she's being a
Oh,
little
I
bit
don't.
more professional. But at the same, like, I just don't.
I don't. I'm just. I can't even talk about her right now. I need to
I
calm
know.
down. Let's talk about one stupidity at a time. But I mean,
Oh,
I felt kind of. I didn't like that. My favorite friend duo, Nina and Curtis, that she's mad at him.
I know. I was just, but he has to do what he needs to do. Like, I get it's your daughter, but she doesn't get a free pass because she's your quote unquote daughter.
It's not like anything was going to happen to Sasha. I agree that. I mean, Sasha was being stupid. I think she should have just waited for her lawyer.
Yes, I
Like play
agree.
with your phone until they get there. Like I don't know, what do you want? Like you could have waited with Nina and Valentine and just said, I'm just gonna wait in this room until my lawyer gets there. So Ava confronts him and all that. What did you? Okay, honestly, like she's crazy. Like when she was saying things, like she's basically saying that even if you didn't murder her, so part of her does know, and that's what I mean. Like this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like even the way Alexis pointed it out to Julian, you know deep down he didn't do it. I don't even think it's deep down. It's right on the surface.
It's right
Everybody
at,
knows that he wouldn't do it. Like every theory that Jordan was pulling out made no sense. Like how does any of this get revenge on Ava for things that are so stupid and ridiculous? He already has revenge. He's happy. and he's with the person he wanted to be with. But when she kept saying things like, did you destroy her and all that? I mean, I get it. He likes a project, but I didn't really feel that way with Kiki.
No, it really didn't. Like, I think the relationship was very different. I think it's the first time that he kind of went outside of himself. But what kind of I noticed in that whole scene was that Ava was freaking out. Ava had the gun in her hand, but there was one point where she kind of gets a little bit closer to him, and then she pauses and she does that like calm, scary voice.
She's so
She
good at that.
I was like, wow, like such a great actress moment. I was like, look at you take your character from like crazy morning mother. And she paused and she looked at him, and then her strong voice came out. And I was like, I got shivers. I was like, wow, that was great. Even though she's like
That's
freaking out on Griffin.
That's Ava though. And the thing is, when I saw her be that way, it really, really made me want her to be the one. I mean, yes, I said her in combination with Franco, but I
Hmm.
wanted her to be the one to go after the real person, given that we know that it's Ryan. Before I go on to how Ryan, I mean, Kevin, Ryan, whatever, was being all weird, I just wanted to say, not that it's shocking, but seriously, she's accusing Griffin of turning Kiki against her. Like, what kind of fantasy world are you living in?
I know. Talk about denial, the biggest denial. All he wanted was for them to, mend things. She is the one that caused all these problems. She didn't have to make it that difficult. She didn't have to make it vengeful or hateful. She could have figured it out and spoken to her daughter instead of not talking to her for months on end and seeking revenge.
Yeah, but that's Ava, and that's a choice she
I
has to live
know.
with, and she can't live with it. So she's lashing out. And when he like, I would say this is the closest Griffin has gotten to fighting back to Ava. But just saying that, it's not me. You're just looking for someone to kill or to hurt or to harm. I was just like, you see, Griffin, you knew this from the very very start, but yet you still tried to be with her, even though it just would never work. That's who she is.
I know, like I didn't see when the relationship developed or any of that stuff, but when he was like, "Yeah, just shoot me," I'm like, "Oh my God, really? You're gonna tempt this crazy lady to just shoot you? Like, have you completely lost your mind?"
The one thing that kind of bugged me, and I don't feel that this is true, is later on when she's talking to Kevin, she says, "Oh, Griffin was telling me all the things that I wanted to hear. So I don't know if I should just believe him because he's telling me what I want to hear." I'm confused. When exactly has Griffin ever told her anything she's wanted to hear? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand when on earth was Griffin bending over backwards to say words specifically for Ava. Like, I've never gotten that vibe from him. Griffin kind of just he just says whatever. He just does whatever. Like, I don't feel like he's super uber aware.
I know, like I don't think there's like some deep thinking, but I think it's like a self-reflection thing. Because she's so broken, Ava as a character, she wants to deny their whole relationship because all she wants to believe right now is that he is just saying everything that she wants to hear. So for her, she just wants to kind of omit that whole thing because it wasn't real to her. He is not a genuine person. But she
Yeah.
doesn't understand that people can be genuine, and that is a description of Ava, not of Griffin.
Wow. That whole, I don't want to swear, but that whole interaction was such a mind F. And I'm like, this girl is projecting like mad. I'm like, is she talking to herself?
Exactly.
Like, who are you talking to here? And I
Exactly.
just, oh, it just kind of bugged me. Like, before Ryan and Julian got to the police station.
Mhm.
Okay, what really also the reason why I want Ava to be kind of the one to go after him is that because Julian was concerned about her. Okay, she ran off, she might hurt somebody, and she may end up
Yeah.
in jail. And Kevin had this super weird, happy reaction, like a really
Yeah.
sick reaction, because I was under the impression he did all of this to kind of like avenge her.
Mhm.
And I mean, last week I think we talked about the reality that he did this to control her. But now I'm just like, what is happening? Now I just felt like he was a sick game because he was because Julian's concern was that she would do something horrible and go to jail. And he kind of smirks at the whole thing. So I'm like, but I thought that you wanted to be with her still and not want her behind bars. So honestly, at that point, it became so sick and so disturbing that I don't know what you're doing. I think ultimately he's just playing a game, and I don't even know if he has, on the most superficial level, any affection for Ava.
I know, honestly, same thing. When he smirked, I freaked out because I was like, he just wants to like unleash evil. Like he wants her to
Yeah.
go to jail. He wants her to kill Griffin. Just wants to have this whole town kind of burst into flames of weird, evil murder and crime. Like, oh my God. And then the same feeling I had again when he was talking to Jordan and he was like so excited that she was actually piecing things together because he just wants to be like famous or recognized for like the work.
Yes, he does. he does want to be famous.
Oh my gosh, it was so creepy, both of those instances. But yeah, especially like he was looking at the bullet and he didn't have that sense of urgency, like, hey, Julian, she took her gun, she left. It was, oh, I don't know. And he was like talking so slowly. I'm like, get to the police station.
And I mean, just the fact that, again, like everyone just believes everything he says. But even Julian kind of got weirded out when he was giving that speech to Ava, like when he was trying to calm her down. And at the end of it, Ava was like, oh, yeah, she like decides not to, she moves the gun or whatever. But then in the background, you have Julian and he's giving a weird look. So I'm like, hello, people. This is not normal. This is not normal. So I'm hoping that they're going to piece it together. Honestly, at this point, the rate that PCPD is going, he's just going to get his wish. And I mean, I'm hoping he doesn't murder anyone else, but who knows?
I know, because I'm like, is there going to be a third? Like, I don't know how many people there were in the previous kind of run
Well,
of it. Do you
he
know?
has a long list. Like he had, I don't know like exactly what happened then, but even when the story started, Ryan had this paper and he has like a list of like a bajillion victims. He has Felicia on there, even though she survived. He has like a very long list.
Right, I do remember that piece of paper. That's true. There were a freaking lot of names on there. Okay. Oh goodness. Okay.
Were you not excited when Alexis was actually able to win a case and she she was able to kind of present the evidence? I absolutely love that scene. But before we get into how Alexis actually was a superstar and helped him out, I kind of didn't know what to think about this part. When Sonny goes to see him and he's like, I got the best lawyer. I got Diane. And then Griffin's like, but I have
No.
Alexis. And I'm just like, yeah, man, you have Alexis.
Good
Like
luck.
she's the second best lawyer because ultimately she always loses against Diane, but she wins some when they're not against Diane.
That's true. That's true. But that was pretty funny. Because what's the relationship with Sunny and Griffin? Because I was kind of lost there too at the fact that he like took the time to go and see him and sit with him and talk to him.
Oh, they're close because he is Duke's son.
Right.
And
And
Duke
Duke
used to work for
was like,
him. And so basically
"Oh."
Griffin came in onto the scene like shortly before he died. And so basically he was trying to connect and talk to everybody who was close to his dad. But the thing is, him and Sonny kind of like connected anyway on the whole religion thing.
Okay, that makes so much sense now. I totally forgot about that. Okay, totally good. We're ready to move on.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just gonna say that I just absolutely enjoyed that scene when Alexis was able to provide evidence, and I just find it funny because I don't understand. I guess their case was because he couldn't prove that he was with Kiki, that he had done all of this before the wedding. I guess that's was probably their case. But I literally was loving it when Alexis was drawing out the timeline in front of them, and they're just like, "Sorry, Griffin,
I know they look all
we're
dumbstruck. Like,
sorry, you're so innocent."
yeah, that was what they're like, oh no, not again.
Well, that's what everyone watching at home, I think, was thinking at this point. But I'm so happy we started with that because it was. I can't even right now. I'm holding back, trying not to swear, but it was just ridiculous. I really did not enjoy that at all.
No, that was just, I'm so glad that he's free now and that they can hopefully move on and piece other things together.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, the only highlights of that whole thing was pretty much when Chase, like my favorite part, even though it was annoying me that the PCPD was clearly on the wrong track, but when they went to Ava to go confront her and she was all offended, like, that's my daughter, she just died. And he goes, I would never hurt her. And then Chase is all like,
My
did
God.
you not set up a sex scene for her to witness so she believed that her boyfriend was cheating on her? That was, I think, my favorite part of the whole thing. That made it a little bit worth it. That made it tolerable for me.
Oh my God, it was pretty funny. It's his face too, the way he changes, like we've talked about it, like it kind of makes me giggle when he goes all like professional, and then he's kind of like goofy, and that like added to
He's
the scene as well.
he's two personalities. He's calm and cool and cold as a cop, but he's a total goofball in his personal life, especially with Willow. Should we go there?
Yes, let's go there.
Okay. So, I mean, he's chasing her, and I don't even know. Like she's not even pretending to be interested in my opinion.
I know. It's just like she's saying yes because she looks at him and she sees his face, but there's no actual anything happening. Whereas, like with Michael, there's like this whole bonding thing and relationship, and there's depth to it. Chase, I think she just agrees to him because he's standing in front of her and he's cute.
But she chases Michael. Like you don't have to say yes to him, but she does. Like she could easily turn him down, but she's not. So for Chase,
Would
he's
you?
thinking, I know,
Would
like
you?
look at his look at
Let's
his
be real here.
But that's the worst part. It's just that like look at him, but right away you know like you're gonna lose. Like she's not gonna pick you. Like she's not gonna end up with you. And it's so sad because he's all eager. And the worst part is him and Michael have bonded. And so even the fact that he goes to the police station and now Chase is learning even more about Michael. Oh, okay, your relationship with Kiki, she mattered to you. And he has a relationship with their family. And I think they're super adorable because, like, I mean, Michael needs a buddy. He needs a friend. And I totally think him and Chase have that, like, brother buddy vibe.
Oh my God, yeah. And then they're gonna throw in this whole love triangle thing.
But they're both so nice that I can't even picture them being mad at each other. Like, I just can't.
I know. I just picture like one bowing down, like being like, okay, man, yeah, you know what? You go.
Yeah, like honestly, like I don't see this being super dramatic from Michael and Chase because I feel like they're the most like least dramatic people on the show. Like I mean, you know what's funny? Chase is very obviously the younger brother when he's interacting with Finn, and Michael has always been so clearly the older brother. So
Aw.
they work really well together, I think, on that. But that's the thing, like I kind of a little bit agree with this. Okay,
Okay.
so Wood Strix on Instagram said, "Uh-oh, I think she just got caught playing two guys." I kind of agree with that. I mean, I know it's not coming from a malicious place or it's not intentional, but the thing is, you obviously have your eye on someone, and Chase is clearly pursuing you. And I'm sorry, was it not in the pamphlet that Chase and Michael knew each other? I mean, they were both in your classroom. Like, isn't it obvious that they're friends and they know each other?
I know.
Like,
It's a
what's
bit of
like,
so
hello?
weird.
So, I
I don't
mean,
know.
part of me agrees that she's sort of caught. Like, I feel like Chase did sort of catch them. I know there's nothing major going on, but I mean, I think the reality is somebody is romantically interested in her. She's not a moron, unless she's just not being honest with herself. But she did seem quite nervous when Chase walked up on her and Michael.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say when he said, "What is it like? Are you ready for our date tonight? Are you ready for tonight?" She was kind of like, what are you talking about?" It just looked like she just wanted to
Yeah,
slink away.
she wanted to keep her options open. That's what I'm saying. Like, even if you want to date around and keep your options open, exactly what makes you think that they don't know each other? Hello?
Oh my God. Okay, so that part is really funny, but when she's sitting with Michael and they're talking about like, conversation with about exes, it's like Michael has the worst track record.
I know.
I'm like, this
Oh,
is not going to be an awkward conversation at all. Talking about your ex is already awkward, but when you're Michael, it's like next level.
oh my gosh. My girlfriend died. My fiance died. My ex girlfriend that was also in love with my brother died.
Oh my God, when
And
he's
my,
explaining, oh my
I
God, okay.
know.
I
I
have to
love
pause.
how he, go
When
ahead,
he
go ahead.
starts explaining like his relationship with Kiki or how Kiki meant something to him, I was
Yep.
like, wow, when you state it that way, it sounds so weird.
Well, it's weird, but I feel like he stated it super nicely. Like he made those two separate things. Like we actually dated. Her and my brother had a great love story. You know what I mean? Like he broke it up. He's like, if you take a pause in this sentence, these appear like two separate things, and maybe she's not gonna catch on that they're both Kiki. But I love that he was like Michael is just he's hilarious. Like he's very honest. He's not going to lie. But just the way he said that, I'm like, only Michael can get away with that sentence, and she'd be like, yeah, more of this. You and your brother
And we
date the same
share a
people.
sister. And we share a sister. Let's say that again. And we share a sister.
That's true. They did share a sister. That part was really funny. Oh man. So between the three dead exes and then the other one in jail, I don't know.
He's
I
got
don't know if that's a
multiple cats.
conversation he wants to have. Like when he asked about his baby mama, I was like, oh no, 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 no. We can't get into that conversation. And so, okay,
Yeah.
this is another interesting comment too about this whole thing. Okay, so this is again on Instagram. Donna Lepore6 said this: Willow and Chase, she won't be able to handle Michael's family. So she's rooting for Willow and Chase. What do you think about that? I never even thought of that angle, that she won't be able
Um,
to handle them.
It's well because we only know one side of it. We don't know her full story. What we see of her is that she's meek. She can be strong at times. I mean, she did have that
She
scene
wears a leather
with
jacket, Mel.
Willow.
Okay?
My God, I was dying with her outfit when she went to
Hmm.
the bereavement group. I was like, is she dressing up for Michael?
I think so.
I was like, damn, girl, that's a low cut shirt for a group.
It's like I'm so sad. but but I think we're right about her story because look at her reaction to Michael about sort of the grief of a child and the
And
way that she put it.
oh my God, it was like heartbreaking. Like to see that unfold, like I'm really not emotionally prepared for that. But like, let's get back to the whole family thing. I definitely agree. I do not see her handling his family very well. They're all very strong personalities. Could you imagine like her in a conversation with just let's just start with Joss? I can't see that.
I don't know. Okay, this is the only reason I think that she could survive his family. It's because nobody would notice her. Just
The
like
fly, a willow on the
well,
wall.
because you just said, like look at Jaws, like, and I'm thinking Carly, and you said they have all strong personalities, and I'm just like, well, yeah, like I'm sorry, but like Willow is you keep this, she's not memorable.
That's a good point. That is very valid. I do like. I just want Michael to be with somebody like normal.
I think he means strong, like not
Yes.
someone he has to take care of, but somebody who's his match,
Yes.
and he comes from a family of very strong individuals, a strong mother. So I think a lot of us see him with that. Yeah, I don't know.
Because you said strong woman, it brings me back to the whole I know Maxie's doing the whole Peter thing, but in
Right.
terms of personality and strength in a partner, that's I think maybe one of the reasons too that I thought that they would make a good pair.
I still think that they're going to make a good pair. So, do we
Yeah.
talk about that? So, you have this love triangle kind of. Like I said, I don't really feel like it's a real love triangle because ultimately I don't see Chase or Michael having the capacity to be upset at one another. And then at the same time, Maxie and Peter are happening, but I still feel like they're intertwined because they've showed like images of Maxie and Michael, and I think that they've planted some of those seeds. Not to say that I think it's going to happen right now, but I feel like it'll happen at some point down the road.
I think so too. I think it's just, especially with the kid and everything like that, I think there's opportunity there for a really nice story and relationship. Even though Peter might be the right now, maybe Michael is the later. And we kind of touched on that a few weeks back. And I'm still a strong believer.
Well, some people agree. So Linda G015 says we'll probably see these two get together before Jason and Sam, 100%. I do like their chemistry. She also has good chemistry with Michael. So I mean, she likes them. She also likes them with Michael. Someone else had also said, so Lynette Johnson said, go for it, Peter and Maxie. I'm ready for you guys to be together. Who else is on board? Okay, Red Italian. Yes, yes, yes. Love the chemistry between these two. Hate to say it because I love Nathan, but I think her and Peter have better chemistry. So this is hard because I feel like you can't compare Nathan and Peter, but it is super weird that they're brothers.
I agree. I don't think it's comparable. I think that I understand the familiarity, and you like you said to me, they were friends before too. So they've developed a relationship that was not romantic, and now it's kind of just leading in a different direction. I really do like they're super cute together though.
They
Like
are super cute together. It's a very different dynamic and different relationship. I feel like the only similarities between him and Nathan, and also DNA, is that like they're polite and sweet. So I think so that's the same.
okay, very scientific. Get it.
But yeah, it's just weird because I kind of felt like the conversation she had with Felicia when she was hesitant, and I think that's the reality. Everyone's like, okay, it's not been a year since Nathan's lost, and I think that's the weird thing is that so early on she was having these feelings. But honestly, I I didn't get that at the end of that conversation with Felicia that she was ready. Whenever you're ready, in 20 minutes.
Well, time in Port Charles sometimes goes really, really slow, but I think it goes so fast that it's so freaking shocking that I don't even know what to do.
Well, okay, some people are not on board. Like you said, like that whole conversation, I think, reflects the other side of it. Yes, a lot of us are ready for Maxie to be happy and like them together, but the other side of it is that, Nathan hasn't been dead for a long time. It is weird. It is his brother. And so that hesitation, again, her hesitation, it wasn't like for very long, clearly during that conversation. But Kelly Kind on Instagram says, no, not ready. She thinks that there's great work by both, but no, not ready for the pair to be together. Pretty Little Mama 25 said, I'm so ready for Maxie to be happy again, but man, I miss Nathan. And yeah, I totally feel the same too. Nathan was an awesome character. And it's weird to see her with somebody else, but it's just, we've seen them together for a while now. So you are kind of used to it. And then there's other people, Nat KA423, no, no, too soon. So not everybody is on board. Some people are just not ready for her to be with somebody else. And I think there's that other layer, like I said, the fact that it's Nathan's brother is odd.
Well, chemistry is chemistry. Like, I mean, they get along really well. They're friends, all of that stuff. Like, this next step, I feel, would have been inevitable either way. And I can't wait to see what their date's going to be like.
I don't think we can go anywhere without even mentioning this. So she asks him out. She's all freaking nervous. But his response, whatever night you choose, I have a feeling I'll be free, What?
I was like blown away. I was like, because I like Peter, but at the same, when he said that, I was like, damn, look at
That
you,
is,
you're
I know,
charming.
because he's polite and he's nice and he expresses how he feels by being super sweet. But when he said that, I was like, I did not think he had it in him.
I know. I was really impressed. I was like, suave. I like it.
Okay, so we can't forget. So I don't know about you, but Mac has a talk with him
Oh Lord.
earlier. But I got
Yeah.
the feeling, okay, this is my impression of that conversation. Mac is like, I'm super supportive, but I'm gonna sound really angry and threatening about it, but I'm on board. That's what I understood from it.
Yes, I just understand. It was more like a you can date her, but don't hurt her conversation. It wasn't a stay away from
Okay.
her, kill you. Is that's not what I was getting
And
from it
then
at
and
all.
then he was also like, we're family no matter what. You're Robin's half brother and you're not Nina. I keep calling Anna Nina because I'm just kind of annoyed with Anna right now.
Well, that's what's funny. He was kind of
I was
like
like,
listing
okay,
how it's all related to everybody, and
you're
like
part of
everybody
our
has this weird
family.
list. I know.
And I'm just like, oh, okay. So he's welcoming him into the family. I was like, what's happening? And then you have poor Peter, who's just like, oh no, like all he wants is to be accepted and to be thought of, as well, just basically to be accepted. But at the same time, I'm like, Peter, you were raised by Faison. Like, why are you so scared of Mac?
I know he's such a puppy. It's like he's such a little puppy that I don't even know what to make of it sometimes. He just wants to be loved and accepted and been like, "You're okay. Everything's great." Like,
Oh my gosh. But he is sweet. He is a puppy. We talked about that, the nice kind of puppy. So
yeah.
I don't think I'm ready to talk about Margot yet. Still a
No.
little irritated. But can we talk about something? Okay, fine. Let's just talk about the people you like. I often try to skip them week to week, and you always
No.
remember Anna and Finn.
Okay, my highlights because this is where I shine. Every other one, like, this is when I talk about probably the most, and that you let me talk about. Okay, so one, wardrobe without his vest, extra button loose. Love it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Agreed.
Their little dancing session, so cute. I love them. Adorable. Like I love how he just kind of goes with the flow, even though he's super awkward.
I love how that's your impression because when I was watching that episode of them, I'm like, so this is the filler. I literally said that out loud as I was watching. I'm like, so this is happening. They're gonna dance around for a while. Okay, cool.
But like,
What
okay, what am I? Sorry, go ahead.
Epiphany?
Epiphany. I missed her. She hasn't been here for a while, but she was so freaking funny. She's like, "Do you really want your man to go to?" What did she say?
Right?
What she said, but I was like, "Yes." Can you? Thank you for like spelling it out for her. Like you're just like pushing him in the arms of another woman. I understand that we're all adults and he has to figure his stuff out in order to clear that up to be fully with you, but give him a chance to actually like say what he needs to say to you and stop trying to order him to do something that he's not really quite sure what he's doing. So yes, you are indeed pushing him towards his ex.
Well, I didn't know she was pushing him. Like this was the first time I found out that he didn't want to know what she had to say.
He always seemed
Maybe
kind
I was not
of
paying
busy.
attention to that part, to
Probably.
those parts.
Probably. But yeah, like you can tell that he was kind of hesitant, but that he was curious. And she just kept like pushing and pushing, pushing. But he did say, like, I'd rather be with you. I want you to come
Yeah.
with me. Why don't I go with you? So there was always those little clues to say, like, what, yeah, he's interested, but you're the focus of my current relationship. Like there's nothing else that I need to know right now. Everything that happened in the past.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that Epiphany pointed that out to her. The favorite thing for me with Epiphany was the fact that she said he's allowed to make his own choices.
Oh my God, seriously. Like, stop trying to be his mother, Anna.
Right? Oh my gosh, it's like don't even get me started on the mothering, but but Epiphany was hilarious. I love how she made logical sense out of her interference, that she was doing it for Robert, that she knows Anna through everything Robin had told her. I thought that was really funny add-in. It was just really comical. It was really cute, and I love the way that it made Anna really uncomfortable. And the point is, Epiphany is the boss. She bossed around Sunny when he was her client. Like nobody is safe from her, and I think that's really funny. There are no rules when it comes to Epiphany. She will own you and tell you what needs to be done.
Yes, it's like a wonderful thing about her character. I agree. Like, all around, she was great and a great addition to the little Finn Anna duo.
So that's the only good part about them this week, but I'm sorry. This ridiculous plan is to go to Cuba and just ask her to come back.
I know. I didn't know that was the actual plan until they said it out loud. And I'm like, is this for real? The only part that was super entertaining about all of that was Finn and Obrick's interaction and
Yeah.
Anna's background face looking at Finn like, can he pull it off or not?
No, because it's a stupid plan and she's smarter than the two of you. And this is the second time they've used this plan. The other time
Really?
it was Dr. Maddox had fled
Okay.
and they were after him. So Curtis and Jordan decide to go to the country where they could find him. But same thing, there was no extradition law. So the whole concept was to go to convince him to come back to go to jail.
Okay, but like, did it work?
They appealed to his conscience and at some point he came back because he's like a real person, he's a doctor. But this is Obrecht, she's not
Oh, right.
stupid. And the whole time when I was listening and talking, so at this point when they're having the conversation with Obrecht, you're getting a better understanding of what their plan is, and you're like, oh my gosh, there are so many holes in this, because why would she go if she can find the cure there? And you're telling me that you would fly to go find Obrecht instead of just being a doctor and figuring it out? And then Finn is saying, would I really give her medicine from this unknown or untrustworthy source? Did you not just come find her to find the cure?
I know. And okay, what made me laugh too is that she had a kit in her purse to test the blood. Like I was like, oh wow, all right. You just like walk around with it. That's pretty cool. You have like a whole freaking lab in your purse.
Oh my gosh. I mean, like it's that ridiculousness that makes me root for Obrecht in those moments. There's other times where I don't root for her, but over time she's become less and less evil and more funny.
True.
So now I'm just kind of like, like I said, I like it when Anna is a spy and is an actual spy, but whenever she's on a case that's personal to her, and especially the fact that it was like, you almost killed my son, it's like, oh, frig, enough with Peter already. Just stop, with the whole acting like there's a bond. I get that you're his mom, but that's the part that makes it annoying.
Exactly. And she's in Cuba. If she's in Cuba, she's not going to do anything to him any further.
Yeah, he's safe. She just wants to.
I know.
I think it's symbolic for her that if she puts him away, that I don't know, her son will be like, "I love you, mom."
Yeah, that's not really going to happen, but sure, you can keep trying.
Like this is gonna be what takes Obrecht down. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Nice
So
try.
yeah, so that whole thing was just really, again, like I said, rooting for Obrecht all the way. Find a way to do it, and and they annoyed me every time they're going. But come on, it's your daughter. Are you really gonna do this to
I
your
know.
daughter? I'm like, this is the question. Like honestly, she's kidnapped your daughter Robin and didn't think twice about it. Like she doesn't even think she did a bad thing. You think she's gonna care really? I don't know. I hope she doesn't fold. I really hope she doesn't
Me
fold because
either.
it's stupid.
It's a pretty lame plan. I'm like, wow, you guys really did not think this through.
It's a lame plan, and what I hope happens is that, I feel that Britt did her part. Her only part is to try to help them locate her mother, but it's
Yeah.
not her job to catch her. Like if your plan
No.
is, your mom better agree to come back on her own. It's like, no, that should be the condition of her release.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible. She better do some more negotiating. If not, she's gonna get.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know if you're ready to talk about Margot, if you really, really want to talk about Aiden instead.
How about we talk about the thing that I totally just realized this week about
Go
Stella?
for it. Let everyone know what you just realized this week.
So I think I've been so lost in being aggravated by Stella, and she was very familiar, and I just kept trying to place her. But when I saw her in the scene with oh my gosh, what's the character
Aunt
name?
Viv, her character name on
Yvonne.
this show is Yvonne.
Yvonne, when I saw them in the scene together, the huge light bulb went off, and I was like, "What the? Who the? Oh my god!"
She's
And
Fresh Prince's mom.
right, and the dots finally connected that it was Aunt Viv, it was Fresh Prince's mom, and the connection. And I just kind of giggled because all this time I'm like, "Yeah, she's familiar," and it just like never dawned on me. So that's my funny of
Welcome.
the week.
Welcome. Glad that you're a part of all of this right now.
Welcome to today.
Welcome. Pretty much. I love how like when they introduce a new set, they make it real worth it. So it's like they introduce the set and now they make okay, so now all the stories are gonna be in this facility.
I know I have another comment about that facility, but we're gonna talk about it
No, no,
later.
no, do it, do it.
Okay, so Daisy's a weirdo. Shocker.
I know, but I didn't know she would be like a dark. I don't know. I didn't think there would be a dark side, like that dark or whatever it is that she was doing. But I thought that was hilarious. Crazy Daisy. She's out to
Crazy
get Sam.
Daisy. I love
Yeah,
it.
But I'm just like, she's no match for Sam. What's the matter with you?
I know. So I'm like, is she like a daughter? Is she like, you know what I mean? So I was like trying to piece it
Yeah,
all
she.
together.
Who knows? Like you'd have to assume she didn't say anything. All she said was that her marks were rich men who were
Yes.
cold. So who knows if they had any other relatives or what the connection with Daisy is to this storyline. But okay, I did not see that coming. I mean, I felt like a cult storyline was big enough on its own.
But
So there was
cults are always a front for something, money laundering.
yeah, yeah. So that was really shocking. So it's kind of fun to still be surprised when you're watching. So there was that part, but then we find out that that's who Mike's been crushing on.
I know. I was the
Oh
look on
no.
the look on her face was devastating because it was like the look, sorry, on Mike's face was devastating because he obviously didn't know, regardless if he didn't remember if this happened again. But the fact is, she's just as lost a little bit. Like we don't entirely know what her storyline is.
Yeah, we don't know her condition.
When she got kind of overwhelmed and she turned to Mike to bring her back to her room and not her husband, oh my gosh. The whole thing, like I felt bad for the husband. In the beginning, I felt bad for Mike. Like the whole situation was just like heart-wrenching.
You come to a point where you forget about your spouse, and then you have these other people that are around you, and you're creating other bonds. So I like that they're depicting something so complex, like an added layer. So it's like the storyline's not over. You know, we see Mike in this journey trying to get into a facility. He's not there full time. He's there part time, and now we're seeing what happens when you're making bonds and connecting with these people. So I love how they're moving forward with Mike in this stage.
That's true because honestly, when he had the roses, I really thought they were for Stella. Like I completely forgot that there was somebody else that he kind of told her about a few, like I think it was like last week. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, he got flowers for Stella. How is this gonna unfold? And then when he turned around and said, no, no, they're for somebody else, I was like, oh yeah, oh no, let's see what happens here. Because is he gonna remember her tomorrow? I don't know. Like I was thinking of like all these things. I'm like, man, this is
Well,
gonna be
for
an
now,
interesting.
Mike like does know who this is, but it's just when Marcus showed up to see Sunny and Carly at the end, like what are they supposed to do? Because at the same time, Stella is Mike's social worker, and she had encouraged them that when he found out that Yvonne had a husband, that he should stay and should keep with his routine. So exactly how are you supposed to keep these two apart?
I know. I just think he's hurting and doesn't know what to do. And he thinks, maybe this is the best action plan. But like at the same time, exactly that. Like, what the heck are they supposed to do? He's not a kid, he's a grown man. And he's in a facility. Like, they're not with him the entire time at the facility.
No, if anything, Stella may happen to stop by
That
and
would
she
be the
can
perfect scene.
and she'll be there to pick up the pieces and have her happily ever after. Well, after all of this mess, a second chance, basically.
Like, it's weird and it's messed up, but yeah.
It is. It's super weird. It was super dramatic, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed being surprised and who Yvonne was. And I was just like, this is a lot at once. You have Yvonne and Mike. You have Curtis walking in with Sam, trying to question her, and having this person linked to whoever sent her that article. I have to say this. One thing that bugs me a lot about that article that she keeps walking around with is that you can clearly hear that it's printed on regular paper. And that bothers me a ton. Like, I just loving all of the storyline, loving the connection with Yvonne, loving Crazy Daisy, but it could have been printed on regular, unlike newspaper paper. But anyways, that's the only thing that bothered me about that. But I really loved today.
The one thing that was distracting in that whole thing, like, I loved the Curtis scene when, like, he saw, like, a Marcus. And
Yeah, he's like
that was
Curtis. No, what
incredible.
is it? Marcus, the Marcus.
And Stella, the look, she's like, "Yeah, that's the name he was given." Like, I think that was her line, and I was dying of laughter. Like, she's giving him the big eyes. Like, don't you
Yeah,
just stop talking, Curtis, for the love of God. He was like a little kid for a second. It's so
I know.
funny.
I absolutely love that because what she came to find out was that she wasn't the Stella in his life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good point. Yikes.
Mm.
That's exactly the sound she would make.
So, okay, so we had just talked about Daisy, and so I actually have something sort of nice to say about her. Well, I don't know if it's about her directly, indirectly, something nice to say. So Oscar calls her over, and so she's rubbing him up, healing him,
The best.
working on her book chapter. And so Kim walks in with Drew, and she's all hating on the whole thing. And I just need to point this out. There may be a cult, there may be all kinds of shady things going on, but whatever Daisy is doing is not his first line of treatment.
Exactly.
So what are we freaking out here for? You got him to do the experimental thing. Why do you have to be all medicine versus this? At this point, you've won, and whatever thing he's doing to make himself feel better, because the point is, he just went through his treatment, he's feeling like crap, and he called somebody that could help make him feel better. Not to
That's
switch treatments.
no, but I loved her. I just loved it because I'm so like as an adult, if I, like, and she is obviously younger, and saying this, I just loved her reaction. She's like, "Well, as a medical professional, I think that."
No,
And then
I have to
when
admit, I love that.
I just loved her tone, her reaction. I just thought it was really funny. And then Drew's expression through the whole thing. And then when Daisy walks out of the room, the kind of eyebrows he gave to like Oscar, like you got this girl touching you up. Like I just thought it was so funny the look that Drew gave Oscar when that scene was almost over.
But it was so weird. I mean, Oscar ultimately is a teenager, and you're kind of, excuse me, who is this? Like, it's not Joss. Like, what? And she obviously, to them, I'm sure appears a little bit older. But I have to say, like, when Kim was talking to her, I was laughing because I wasn't looking up when that was happening, but I was mouthing the same lines as Kim because I knew she would say that medicine is the best medicine, given that she's a doctor. And I was just like, and I
I
love that she
loved it.
toned it down after she saw Oscar give her a look.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, I just thought it was so funny, and the lines were delivered like perfectly by Kim, and then like Drew's reaction, because sometimes he doesn't have very much reaction, but just the kind of cheeky look he was giving Oscar, I thought it was very cute.
But haven't you noticed that she's pulled that from everybody? Sunny, Alexis, Chris, like even Sam, even though Sam has never met her, whatever Kristina tried to do, Sam was already uncomfortable with it. But even Alexis was super uncomfortable. And I find it really funny because like Daisy's all, ooh, I want people, I want to recruit, I want to know your family. And every time she tries to like invite any of them, everyone's like, who are you? Like, what? It's like nobody's interested in getting to know her.
It's so true, and it's funny because like somebody who you see on the screen, and she seems like this, like she portrays this warm, inviting person, and exactly that people get kind of weirded out by her. And I loved it when Alexis, she walked, Daisy's like, "Oh, hi, Chrissy." She's like, "Well, I call her Christina."
I know. I don't know that it's so Alexis, but in that moment, given the situation and given Daisy, and we don't know what she's up to, I really did enjoy it. And I feel like Alexis did a really good job not being too judgy, even though she left all weird.
Exactly, but I love, okay, the whole, then in my head, I could just see like, Chrissy versus Christina, who Christina really is supposed to be, and this whole like Chrissy character that falls in line with like this whole Daisy cult thing.
But you know what? Sam calls her that.
Chrissy.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
that's why I think it's odd because I know that Sam and her sisters like at some point in time introduced that, and I thought, oh my god, cool, they're introducing like an additional like nickname to Christina. But that's what I feel so bad for her because they brought her back. Now she's in this storyline, she's lost, and she's gonna be duped. And I just feel like, what is this gonna do to the poor girl? Like I feel like she just can't catch a break.
I want her to have an opportunity to come out being a strong out of a storyline. Like she just keeps getting knocked down and she doesn't even have a chance to breathe and be strong and be the leader in whatever situation she wants to be, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does because at this point, if this happens, I don't see how this pushes her as a person forward as opposed to just being another her getting knocked down. And I feel like it stagnates her. And I feel that's always what happens with her storyline is that something happens and it just completely stagnates.
I agree. Like I said, I was hoping that the storyline would go a different way as to, let's say Daisy kind of latching onto Oscar and then her realizing what's happening and helping him out. But now she's in it just as even and square as Oscar, and I feel like Oscar is less in it now because he has his family back.
Yeah, I really don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know what's going to be the thing that would make Christina second guess because she's all vulnerable and she's really trying to be a good whatever it is that you have to be to follow Daisy around. She's trying to be good at that. So I
I
don't know.
know.
I don't
I
know.
What do you think? Okay, so here's the thing. So now, Kim had the conversation with Oscar, and this all relates back to Daisy, but Kim's trying to get him to move back home. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen when he wants to leave this sort of communal house.
Oh, I don't. I'm still. I hope nothing. I hope nothing. This guy's going through so much that I'm hoping that if he wants to leave home and he's ill, that they're gonna let him. I wonder if maybe Kristina might take his place.
Well, this is what I mean. Like, how do the repercussions? Like, maybe they'll be disappointed. Maybe they'll try to convince him to stay. Does that leave an opening for Christina to see that, hey, maybe this is weird because he's sick and he really does need to be with his family? Why are they so dead set when he does have a support system? Or does it exactly that leave the opening for her to leave her sister's house and move in with this house?
I know it sucks, but like I kind of see it happening that way. I see Christina getting deeper into it because, like you said, Oscar has his own storyline. He has his own people. He's got crap going on between Cameron and Joss and his parents and reintegrating into his life. So honestly, I think there really just leaves room for Christina to be sucked in, and so that we can get to know what's really happening with this Daisy person.
Which totally sucks, but I do want to see what's happening in that house. I wonder if it's going to be a new set for us.
Ooh, I know how much you love new sets.
I do. It keeps things exciting.
Okay, so was there okay, hold on.
What
Okay,
about Cam, the
so
Camp Jaws Oscar scene?
yeah, I want to talk about that, but I just want to say I'm just happy and I'm hoping it's all behind us, but the whole Oscar and Kim making up, it's over. It's fini.
Thank goodness. I'm so
I don't
tired.
even like I know you want to talk about Joss, Cam, and Oscar, but I have to say, I don't really think Oscar is part of it because it was Cameron coming to talk to Oscar. It was Jocelyn getting very happy to see Cameron, and I don't even think she was aware of how happy she was. And then their interaction. So I mean, Oscar's like barely involved in this scenario.
Very true. His biggest part was the fact that they acknowledged that he sent an apology, email, letter, text, whatever the case may be, that he acknowledges that what he did was wrong and that he appreciates Cam and feels bad for the position that he put him in.
Well, he also acknowledged him as a friend.
I know, and I kind of like that. And then when Cam said something like, "Don't you wish you didn't choose the treatment so that you didn't have to do homework or something like that?" I'm like, "You're so Cam. You're such a teenage boy that says
Yep.
stupid stuff."
I loved how Joss is like I just thought it was really cute and very Joss, like how she was trying to get him chips or help him with his cravings and how like she got annoyed with him. She's like, you better be fine with all of this. And that's her being really, really nice to him. I thought that was hilarious. It reminded me of like how nice I am with Johnny.
It kind of reminded me of that too.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a very cute scene because it just brought some, how do you say it, like just teenage reality into the situation or Johnson's personality into it. It wasn't just all, oh, are you okay? What do you need? Blah, blah, blah. It was just like, okay, you're annoying. Like, what else do you want? Like, I don't get
Oh my
it.
gosh, that's exactly it because she doesn't let him feel bad about himself because he keeps saying, you know, what if I die? Because she was bringing him all of his schoolwork, talking about colleges. And then she's like, well, what if you live? This way you're not going to be behind. I was just like she doesn't care. Like she does not give him any room for his like sob story. And it was kind of sweet when, well, sad also when she bumped into Michael and said, I don't have time to grieve Kiki,
Oh,
but every time I walk out of the room or walk away from Oscar, my heart breaks all over again. And I'm like, it's true. This girl's got so much going on.
I know. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because, like, for the age that she's at and all the stuff that she's dealing with right now, it's a little intense.
It
Especially
is a
this poor
lot.
girl.
Exactly. She's just getting into it really, really young. Well, no, I'm just trying to remember if she ever got kidnapped. I think
Oh,
Franco just like lingered in her bedroom, but I don't know. I don't think she was kidnapped.
oh, he's one we have to talk about. I have some stuff to say about him when we're ready for him.
Yeah. So okay. So she has been in touch with Cam, and I'm just, come on, Joss. You guys pretty much agreed to be together, and then he
Yeah.
told you the truth, and then Cam scurries off. So like Cam was just being all around awesome. He checked in with Oscar. He checked in with Franco. What did you think about the fact that Cameron had to go through his mom to get to Franco?
Hmm.
And she tried to deter it, but he's like, no, I want to see him anyway.
Okay, so I'm
I
sorry.
want to
It's
hear
just
this.
because, like, no, because I think, okay, he's trying to be polite, he's trying to be respectful of Franco's space, but it just goes to show the level of maturity of Cameron over Elizabeth, that he is considering her feelings, his plan of action. How can he be the best support for Franco? What can he say to him that will work? And hey, maybe I should ask my mom first. So, the guy's grieving. Mature.
He did ask to, if it's cool to talk to him, but he did insist on talking to him anyway, and she did try to deter him from
Yeah,
talking to him. And
so
then she went to go ask for Franco's
true.
permission. So I feel like he was trying to be respectful, but ultimately Cameron's like, no, I want to talk to him. And I felt like he was confident that he was able to kind of get through to Franco. I guess what really bugs me her trying to tell him no and then telling Franco, I told him no, that this may not be a good time, is that I feel like that action right there is what is going to keep the divide between them. I know you're trying to
Exactly.
be nice to Franco and give him what he needs, but I feel like you don't know what anybody needs because Franco needed Cam and Cam needed Franco in that moment.
I think that you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly it. She has no idea what any of them need.
Which is not surprising at all.
I did really, really love the Franco Cameron scene. Like what he said and just the emotion in both of their faces and like when he went in like when they did the hug, like that whole scene was so beautiful and that, basically that was saying that he's there for them and
Yeah.
that he's okay. Like, basically he accepts them. Like I
Yeah.
really loved it.
And now they can move on and be a family. And I just loved Franco's reaction. I just loved seeing him get emotional over that. It was like you said, the whole thing was really sweet. But Cameron wasn't done there. He spread his sweet all over Oscar. Then he went to Franco, and then his last stop was Aiden. It's
Yes.
funny. We have the display of Cameron. We have the Cameron that Joss would love to be with.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like that's how we're showing him. We showed him in this jerky way from the start. We've seen him evolve, and now they're presenting Cameron in this amazing family guy and a good
Huh.
friend and a good everything.
Because okay, at some point, now that you brought this up, this totally like destroys my other theory. But I was what if Oscar Joss is a Robin Stone situation?
So now you think he's gonna die because now you want him to die.
No, but like no, but see, the reason the theory's blown up is because Stone was more or less the deep love or the quote unquote love of Robin's life at that point in time. I know there were teenagers, but it was really like love. With Oscar,
I don't.
I feel like
It's not
he's
as
more in
deep as
love.
Robin.
No, exactly. And that's where it kind of showed because like all the things you just pointed out about Cameron, it's like Cameron is the love of her life. And Oscar is just this guy that's kind of like around that she was her first boyfriend and she likes him and like they're together.
I love how Oscar was her boyfriend. They were really cute, got sick, we were so sad, and now look how much things have shifted with Cameron coming into the picture and him evolving. Now we're kind of like, Oscar's not that special. It's not a great love story. Bye. I think he'll live for sure. But would it be creepy, Oscar with Kristina? Because she would need somebody who's very good to anchor her.
Whoa. I don't know what to make of that.
Because
Work.
they work together, that would definitely shift things a lot. But I feel like it's inevitable because with every generation, you must date everybody in that generation that you are not related to. There's going to be that connection. It's like Kiki. It's still shocking me when Curtis is like, sorry for your loss. I'm like, to Sam? He's like, it was your cousin. Right. Thanks for the reminder. Forgot you were cousins. So I feel like that has to happen. It makes sense for Kristina to date her brother's sister's ex-boyfriend, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, totally, totally.
So
Okay,
that's
okay, I can
happening.
see this. I can see it happening.
That's
It would be
happening.
weird, but it can totally happen. Yes.
Well, it's happening
Maybe.
because of how messed up that is.
Okay, so Oscar is going to save Christina from the cult.
Yes.
And we kind of rolled around that idea a little while back, but I was convinced it was going to be the other way around, but maybe this is the thing.
It has to be because I like it. Because you're often right with your predictions because you are right. You were right when you talked about Franco because I didn't know how I felt about his reaction last week. And then you said we'll get his real reaction in his paint room. That's what
Oh yeah,
happens.
look at me.
Right? I don't predict things anymore because they are always wrong.
It's so fun to talk about though.
Thanks. Thanks for humoring me. Okay, so I'll ask you if you're ready to talk about Margot.
Yeah,
I
I'm
kind of feel
ready.
like, yeah, okay. So Margot's all at the graveyard. Like, I just don't care. Like, I don't care about her sadness. Like, even though she was kind of convincing and even more emotional than Griffin is over Kiki to her dad that she didn't even know, I appreciate her acknowledging in that moment. And I thank her for saying, Dad, even though I didn't know you. Yeah,
And
because you
it
didn't.
was
Like,
rewarding. It was rewarding to hear her say that.
so she was gonna let it go, but obviously I'm jumping over something very huge.
Mhm,
Prior to
mhm.
this, she gets Sunny's scarf.
Okay, dude, I had to rewatch that scene. I needed to look at, they had like a couple, I think it was like two or three like scenes together. And I had to look because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to see like his reaction. It was not a look of love. It was,
No,
really genuinely feel it was like daughter protective. Her look, however, was not.
Yeah. The only thought that kept me from being like, what is happening? That they're getting close and that he feels this way about her. But then I was like, yeah, this is very much more him looking out for her. He would never cheat on Carly. But she seemed to have a total shift in the way that she sees him. All of a sudden, she's like, oh my God, you're taking care. Like, talk about daddy issues, but like,
That's,
oh,
oh
you're
my God,
taking
you took
care
the
about me.
word.
You care about me. And it's just like, oh, okay, good for you. You think he's nice. Move on.
I know you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm like, this girl has some serious daddy issues. Do not be that sense of authority and protectiveness or whatever it is towards her that she's missing. Like, do not.
Because it would be weird, like, you know, because like you said, because that, I think that's exactly what makes the whole situation weird, is that Sunny is acting in this caring way, in a non-romantic way towards her, and we're just not too sure what she thinks. Even though we don't like her a lot and it took a lot for us to get to this point, I do have something nice to say about the actress, actually, that made me shift the way I sort of see her when I'm watching. So there was this article, and she was saying how she really, because she's been a soap actress and an actress, and she's done other soaps and everything, and she was saying how much she admired and was like really excited to work with Maurice and really excited to work with Laura Wright. And she said that, I don't know if you remember this, the scene where I think it's one of those times where Carly's telling her off, and I
Okay,
think
yeah.
she was telling her off in the cemetery, and in real life she was saying, I was so caught up in how good she was, and I was like, right, you're acting, you're acting. Like, she just really like
Aww.
loves working with them. So when I read that, I'm like, okay, so it totally helps me see her in a bit less of an annoying light.
I almost want to like refine that scene to look at it to see her expression.
But yeah, so I think that's what's gonna make it weird, is that we kind of know where Sunny's coming from, and because it's so father daughter, there's something about her that makes it a bit uncomfortable. something about it is just a little uncomfortable.
I agree. It just always feels kind of off because you don't know what the intention is.
Yes,
She's
yes.
obviously very obsessive.
So I'm preemptively just creeped out whenever they're together, but I think I'm a bit confident now that nothing will happen, but that it
No,
will continue to be awkward.
exactly. And I really love the scene. I think it's when they came back from the facility. Sorry, I can't get my words out. One, notice Sunny in his sweater, like so cute because I'm so used to seeing him in a suit, but in a sweater, he looked very handsome. And then he was saying to Carly that, like, I can't believe that she would forget her husband. And Carly was kind of like, oh, that.
Yeah.
And then he's like, but I'd never forget you. And he has this like way of like sparkling and being so cute. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so adorable.
That was so adorable. I really really love that moment. His dimples. There's something, there's something about him, because I honestly didn't think it was over with Margot, because even at the gravesite she was all, well, I'm not going to go after my mom, but like, I'm still coming after you. But I think she backed off in the end by saying that there was no evidence,
She
and then she
did.
was
And she
all,
also, sorry, she also said he has a heart.
yeah. So at that point, I'm like, so are you really backing off of him? And then today, Jason had a talk with her.
Oh,
And then
yes,
she's
yes.
like, not necessary because I'm not targeting him. I'm like, really? Really? You get one scarf and now you got a heart of gold?
It's a magical scarf.
Oh my gosh. So, like, I mean, again, Sunny's dimples, they have far ranging powers, but I loved, I love the interaction with Jason, because I mean, he has not gone up to her directly, but I loved that he did, because I feel like finally I felt really vindicated this week. She acknowledged she didn't know her father, and then Jason made a point of listing how horrible she had been to everybody to her face.
I know. That was amazing. Like, seriously, that was incredible.
That's what I loved. I love that conversation, because the point of that conversation was to be like, you're a crappy person, and did you know how crappy you were being to Drew and you didn't even know? You're super crappy. Like, that was that conversation, and it was great.
Okay, but like, how did you feel when the whole interaction with Drew and her after the fact? Like, after the conversation with Jason?
I'm like, first of all, why is this girl always surprised that people aren't happy to hear from her? Because
Yeah.
she bumps into him at Kelly's. She knows there's something up. He tells her, hey, my son's sick. He has cancer. And he's telling her to her face, and I'm hoping she puts two and two together, that you had been blackmailing him all this time while this was happening. And he tells her, I'm not in the mood to be blackmailed or whatever. And he walks away. And then she has that look that she always has after she finishes talking to anybody in the town, where she's like, ugh, they were not happy to see me. No, do you hear yourself when you talk to these individuals? And then I love how she followed him to the hospital, but then she hands over The USB. Oh, so Miss Margot is redeeming herself. Like now we're gonna try to make her human. And like I said, she gets the scarf, and now all of a sudden she's like, "Here's your USB back."
Told you, magical scarf.
Yeah. So I don't know if all of a sudden this procedure is now going to be safe.
That's my whole concern. Like, what happens now? Like, yeah,
He's
okay,
gonna
he wants
plug it
his
in
little
his ear or his belly button. Boop, 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 boop. Memories.
Oh my God. The visual on that, especially like the expression that he's so expressionless. Computing, initializing. Okay, sorry. Okay, yeah, that would be really funny. Yeah, like I don't know what and is this the right time? Like, I don't know. It's like
I think it's the right time to not be an ass. Like, and I like.
he's
I think it's the right thing. I'm happy that he finally has it. You know, even if he does nothing with it, I thought as long as she has that, like, she will never be a redeemable character,
true.
and so now she'll be tolerable.
That's a good point because I have to admit I wasn't like I wasn't so strong on the hate. Like the hate meter is like super high, but it like went down a little bit. I don't like her. I don't love her, but it's like a little bit lower.
Yeah, so now you can dislike her and enjoy it and it'd be comfortable and fun as now that the USB is sort of out of her hands, because that would be the one thing where you're just like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yes, exactly.
So she really did let go. So I feel like now I feel like after this whole entire week and after the USB that she gave back to him, I feel like, okay, maybe she's like legitimately let go of that whole thing and now she'll just be just another annoying DA. Hopefully.
Yes.
Just another annoying DA. Someone for Alexis to lose against or win against because it's not Diane.
True.
Okay, were you a little bit shocked when Alexis, again with the whole will thing, like when Oscar called Alexis for his will, and then I loved it. Jason took the words right out of my mouth. He's like, "What does he have? Like, what would he need a
Same
will for?"
here. I was
But
thinking the
then,
exact same thing.
well, it turns out, but so it's a secret, right? Like what Jason's supposed to do? Because I'm like, did I miss something here? It's one of those
No,
secret
pretty sure.
things.
Yeah, all like he wants him to protect the like I guess he
His
doesn't want
shares.
to the wrong hands and blah blah blah, which I kind of led to like an interesting thing because like let's say he does go or he's at a point where he thinks he's going to die, so he gives how do you say like when you sign over your
A
power of
proxy.
yeah. So then what if Jason like has to get back involved in like ELQ and stuff? Like I thought that was such a like interesting kind of play there.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. But yeah, it's true. He might get more involved because he has a couple of shares, plus he has children, so he has those shares. So the thing is, all this time and throughout this whole conversation, I have always been confident that Oscar will live. I was confident that Oscar would live the moment that they said his tumor was inoperable. I was like, that is a challenge.
Remember.
Somebody will help. But then when Alexis brought up the shares, I was like, oh my God, he's gonna die. He's gonna die. So I'm unsure now. I was like 100% confident before, but
Okay.
now I don't
Mm,
know.
I think they're gonna maybe bring him really close to the end and then bring him back miraculously.
I hope so. That was my thought all along, is that he would, like, even though he's doing a miracle like trial therapy, I felt like he would come close to the end and like a miracle would happen, or somebody would be able to finally operate on the tumor, or the tumor will finally become operatable.
Yes. Operation.
Operatable. Okay, so so something stupid and silly. Stupid and silly. Freaking Sasha. Sasha. She did not know what she was getting herself into when she agreed to be Valentine's ex-wife's pretend daughter. So now, so now the plan is you got to go to the safest place in the city, Windermere. Every psychopath terrorist who's ever crossed Port Charles knows the catacombs by heart.
Oh
People
my
have been
God. I
held
was
captive in those catacombs. There have been multiple fires. Emily was murdered there. Not sure if other people have been murdered there. Yes, I believe other people have been murdered there. And I love they're like, this is the safest place. Yep, probably.
oh
Like,
my
given
God.
the rest of Port Charles.
I was laughing because I was trying to remember the word catacombs and I was like, the tunnels under the blah blah blah. But yeah,
Tunnels works.
I don't know, between, a psycho on the loose, just like murdering people, and then people being drugged, and there's all kinds of big. So maybe this is the safest place for
Well, the thing is, okay, I'm going to say safe in quotation. I think every killer thinks that about Windermere, because whenever they're on the run or they need to hide a body or the person they kidnapped, they too feel that Windermere is safe enough to do that.
That's a good
So I
point.
don't, I don't, like, I don't
That
even know.
is. Remember we were talking about like Port Charles, like visitor's guide. So like
Yeah, their crime rates. It's just
and go to Windermere. If you're a fugitive or you would like to hide something incriminating, check out Windermere.
But do you know who I think gets those pamphlets are the criminals. I think everybody else who moves into the town, they don't have access to any of that information. They all they have is Olivia's video where she's like flailing her arms at all of the things like
Screaming
this is the hospital and this is our hotel and this is
loudly.
Charlie's. This is our detective. I think she had Jordan in there. She's like, this is our commissioner. It was really funny.
Oh my God, so this is like a real thing you're telling me about?
Yeah, she made a video. She made a video to
Oh my God, I'm
encourage
dying.
tourism. And
No,
she
but I'm
filmed
dying.
herself outside. Like, you know how like all the actors will post on Instagram, on social media, like General Hospital, like the building in the background. She did that.
Huh?
She was out there. You have to look it up. It's really funny.
Because I already can visualize it in my head and it's pretty damn funny. So yeah, I'm totally gonna have to Google that.
Okay, so I'm super excited because I think the thing that we get to finish on is the Charlotte situation and Aiden.
Okay, can I just pop in a quick funny of the week?
Yeah, go for it.
I loved the Carly Jason scene. So when they were together and she was asking about details for something, and then he's like, "No, I'm not telling you details
Oh,
about."
about him and Sam. Oh my God, we forgot about Sam. Ooh, and Jason. They actually had something worth talking about this week. Like, you know, I mean, I love to just like I love them. I want them to be together. But seriously, sometimes it's just like, what is there left to say?
I
Oh,
know,
oh,
right?
oh, somebody else feels like what I just said totally echoes this person. Jennifer Francis 8326 on Instagram says the curse is them getting some action because that
Oh,
was the whole
right.
cuteness between them because they're like there's no Christmas. Like he looked at her like she was completely insane for asking if there was a Christmas curse, and then this person goes, Jason must be dying seriously. Love them, and this round of them is really testing my patience, but I love them yesterday and every day. So that's the thing, I love them, I do, but yeah, like I mean it's really testing our patience. And for me, I just feel like if they're not going to be doing it, I would really love more of these types of scenes. Like I feel like they're funny, they're really cute.
I was listening to Stone Cold and Jackal. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, and the Jackal, like he was like, I think Jason's character hasn't had sex in like 7 or 8
Yes,
years. I
yes,
was,
yes.
I laughed out loud so hard, and Jason's like, yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. I mean, they were so cute, but once again, freaking Alexis, she's so mean.
Like, why though? Why? Why can't you just let them have some fun?
But like she walked in and she just made like an awful comment, and I was just like, wow, wow. And then I don't know if you noticed this, but like so when Jason crosses Alexis and he's out the door and Alexis is in, Sam throws her head down on the couch.
I did see that. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious. So even though we already talked about Leland Powell, that's where that all happened. But yeah, so at least there
Right.
was a decent Sam and Jason moment. Really loved it. And because he said that there's no Christmas curse, I'm guessing that's when they're gonna get together. Because somebody will chuck mistletoe at these two and we'll finally go at it.
I don't think that's the purpose of mistletoe, but I
It's
get
gotta
where
be
you're
in this
going with
case.
it. I get where you're
Like it can't go past Christmas.
Oh my God. So yeah, so okay, so then it leads to like the Carly Jason scene, and then she's like details, like I'm not giving you
Yeah.
details. And then they go like then they have a beer together. I thought it was really cute that they were both drinking beer out of the bottle at the Metro Court. I thought that
It's
was such a cute
yes.
little scene together.
It's very reminiscent of their time at that other bar.
Yes, I know, and that's exactly what I was thinking of. So it was just like I don't know if it was like a nod to back then and the renewal of their friendship and how close they are, and just like pinpointing that. But I really, really love their scene together.
Honestly, like I love it. Like they're so lovey-dovey and their bond is just highlighted so much more now that he's back and I really enjoyed it. It's really sweet. And she finally knows that Jason knew all along that Oscar was sick, so that's finally out.
Yes, that's true.
Okay,
So
so we've said this before, but Nina is such a scene stealer. And when she waltzes in and she's happy that she made it just in time for Lulu and Valentine to talk about Charlotte, just like how she like twists and turns and looks, like everything she was doing was so hilarious. It was so funny.
I know, and I understand the role that she's.
This is pre Charlotte though, pre when Charlotte comes down.
Oh yeah, like when she brings out the cookies and she brings out the milk, and she's just
Oh my
like,
gosh. Oh my gosh, she was just ridiculous. I mean, I hate to agree with Lulu, but when she blew up at her at the
I
end
know.
of the whole thing, I was like, well, duh, you know. And I said this. Okay, this might be the only prediction that I've made to come true. When I had said a long time ago that maybe Nina's part of the whole problem because there were parts where she was constantly taking her out for treats and asking if she can buy her expensive things and taking her on expensive getaways.
I agree because I don't want to say like I'm on Lulu's side, but like it or not, for this situation, I am. But she was saying, like if you make her feel like she's perfect and that she can do no wrong, then she doesn't understand that what she's doing, how it's affecting another person because there's no consequences to her actions. And I really do believe Nina, because of her situation and not having her daughter when she was younger, and how she does genuinely love Charlotte and see her as her own, but she definitely puts her in this bubble of you are perfect, you are everything to me, and there's nothing you could ever do. Like, how can my child do something wrong? Like, definitely that
Yeah,
parent.
yeah, I think there's a lot attached to why she feels the way she does about Charlotte, aside from the fact she loves her a ton.
Yeah.
But I feel like Lulu said it perfectly when she spoke to Nina.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was like, yes, 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 keep going. Like, this is what you need to say.
And I loved her like genuine concern to Laura. So before we get to that amazing moment,
Oh
I
God.
felt so bad for little Aiden when he was just like, there are rules, but the teacher doesn't make them. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this Charlotte girl, she's so awful. But I felt like I liked how Laura was with Aiden. It was such a sweet interaction of her trying to attempt. I feel like they've presented and shown on screen everyone try to talk to Aiden aside from Elizabeth. So the way that they portray Elizabeth, I mean, it obviously is a thing. They definitely, like, screen time wise, they do portray Elizabeth as not really knowing how to interact with kids because we never see her do it, and when she does, it often blows up, or she's sending them to the
True.
vending machine. So I feel they want me to feel this way about her, and I will happily play along.
Agreed. I'm right on board with this trend.
And so I loved it. So once again, Cameron shows up and he's being man of the day. Like, he's just being so awesome and so supportive to everybody in his life. And the way that he was trying to build Aiden up, you know, stepping in and being a big brother and telling him he should draw himself as like a really big bad bug if he is going to be a bug. So I love that. And you know, from that scene, I can definitely see how Cameron supporting him will definitely make him feel more empowered and help him out a lot. But what I love is when Lulu is talking to Laura and shares her concerns. You know, it's either Charlotte doesn't understand, she understands, or she
Yeah.
just doesn't care. And I love the horror on her face. And I'm like, well,
Oh
she's
my
like
God.
Cassadine. But even more was Laura
Exactly.
being like, do you know who the kid is? Like, this is just awful. It's like both of her grandkids.
But the stare, she like literally has this, it felt like a slow motion turn and stare to Aiden. Like, how does Lulu not clue in? I have no idea.
Right? That is exactly what I was thinking. I was watching the TV. I'm like, your mom, her eyes bugging out when you're talking about the bullying, and then her slow glance as you're speaking to look at Aiden. You're just like, I'm not putting two and two together. And the thing is, she knows that Aiden is going through something because of Elizabeth. So this is why I am so excited for this storyline. I'm so excited because, and I'm really hoping Laura I know she's going through a lot. I know she's going through a divorce and her husband's really a psycho killer and there's a lot, but I really, please tell Lulu, tell Elizabeth, and just let everything unfold, because it's just like, you know, typically I don't really root for Lulu, typically I don't root for Elizabeth, so putting them together because they always feel that they're so right is going to be amazing.
I kind of agree. Like, 'cause I don't even know who I'd root for. The fireworks would be
None of
incredible.
them. I just want to see them fight it out.
Oh my God, hilarious. I think we need to like end it there because like that enthusiasm and evil laugh is like
All right. Yeah. Well, pick it up next week.
with more evil laughter and funny jokes.
Oh my gosh. So have a good night and a good weekend.
You too. Talk to you soon.
Bye.